Doug and Pig back with another video. I got a good one for you guys. This one's about 3 years old, but it's still relevant. This is a guy in Florida. He thought he was a dad for a year. He went to paternity court, found out the child wasn't his. The judge shut off the child support order, but the state of Florida reversed the judge's decision and made him keep paying child support. Guys, you have to protect yourselves. You have to. Don't get these women pregnant. This is a modern world we're living in. Before we get into the news story, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me and what I'm doing over here. And let's see what's going on in Florida, guys.
Year of being a dad was a great year. Yeah, and then all of that was ripped away in an instant.
A First Coast man is in a fight with the state of Florida over court-ordered child support for a child he has proof isn't his.
I don't want to keep reliving what I've already had to go through.
Guys, could you imagine? And women, they don't understand how much of an L that is for a guy to find out that the child's not his. I'm trying to think of a bigger L as a man that you could take. Put in the comment section what would be a bigger L for a man to take than finding out that the child he was raising for a year is not his. Let's keep going.
So imagine being forced to pay for child support despite proving that you are not the father.
That's the exact situation one local man is facing, and he says it cost him everything. Our Shelby Danielson brings us the exclusive story, all new at 11 tonight.
I signed the birth certificate because at the time...
Don't sign the birth certificate. Get a DNA test first. Because if you sign the birth certificate, you are pretty much taking responsibility for the child. Don't do it. Unless you're married. If you're married and the child was planned, but if some woman says I'm pregnant, never sign the birth certificate. That's his first mistake.
I believe that was the father.
When most men look back on the birth of a child, they remember the hospital.
I was emotionally devastated.
For Joseph Sinawa, the memories are of the courthouse.
She told the judge that she just wanted this to be done and over with. And so do I.
In an effort to obtain visiting rights for a child, Sinawa went to court and the judge ordered a DNA test to prove his paternity. The results were shocking. He was not the father.
At the time.
So he didn't even have visitation rights. He sued her for visitation. They got a DNA test, and then he found out the kid wasn't his. So I guarantee you she was keeping the child from him, which is why he sued for visitation.
It was taking just over $83 a week out of my paycheck, which was about a third of my pay. Thinking that I was the father, I didn't have a problem with it.
The judge
$83 a week. It may not seem like much, but he lives in Florida, and there's some poor parts of Florida, guys. And he looks like he lives in one of those areas.
ordered the child support to end, but then Sinawa received another shock.
And then the Florida Department of Revenue decided to appeal the judge's decision.
On its own accord, the state filed an opinion in court and reversed the judge's decision, forcing Sinawa to continue to pay child support.
Well, we know.
Have you guys ever heard of anything like this before? I've never heard of this. I didn't know that that could happen. First off, I didn't know that judges reverse decisions of child support based upon you finding out that the kid's not yours. 'Cause I thought that once you signed the birth certificate, it was over. But reversing a judge's decision, I've never heard of that.
We know how the courts feel about it. We know how the state feels about it. Now we're going to speak with an expert in family law.
I've never seen this happen before.
Attorney Brandon Beardsley has been practicing family law for more than 16 years.
We're not saying that you can't eventually have child support terminated. You just didn't follow the proper procedures, which that's what surprised me of why the Department of Revenue appealed it, because the end result's going to be the same. You're just making a father pay child support every month now for an extended period of time that he shouldn't be paying until he follows these procedures.
Beardsley says eventually Sinawa should be let off the hook, but he's most likely going to lose more money first.
The problem with the Department of Revenue and child support enforcement is the state's their client, not the mom.
Sinawa says he's currently representing himself since he's strapped for money and cautiously awaiting the next court date. In St. Augustine, Shelby Danielson, First Coast News, on your side.
That is such a crazy case. And we did try reaching out to the mother involved in this case. We also reached out to the judge who made that decision, but he says he cannot comment on the case. You can read the full opinion of the Department of Revenue on our website, firstcoastnews.com.
Year of being...
Guys, I can't say it enough. You have to protect yourselves because these women, man, they're going to get the state. We know how child support goes. Most of it goes to the women, but the state gets some of it. Judges get a percentage of the child support that they get. And guys, the state's going to get their money. The best way to do this is to not get involved in the first place. Don't get these women pregnant, guys. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.